Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Flowfish video. Thank you for tuning in. Today is the first day of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We've got match day 1 going on today. Match number 1 will be Mexico versus South Africa at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. They are playing in Mexico City, so a huge home match for Mexico. And later this evening at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have the Korean Republic versus Czechia playing in Estadio Guadalajara. And for all my soccer fans out there, I think everybody's excited because today is such a huge day. I've been waiting for this for almost a year plus now, and boy am I just excited to see all the best stars in all the countries take the main stage and play in and probably one of the largest world events that we could have take place. You know, soccer just brings people together, and it's such an exciting time of the year. And from someone who's from North America to have the World Cup on my home soil is such an awesome experience and something to look forward to. I actually plan on attending some games as well, and although the tickets were not cheap, I am just so excited to experience it all firsthand and see it live. That being said, the idea of today's video is to actually go through and kind of predict how we think the group stages are going to play out. Who's going to take number 1 seed and number 2 seed out of each group, and then we'll predict some of the third place teams that I think will move on to the knockout round. So I'm excited. I can't wait. The match is about to kick off here in an hour. So I'll just be waiting and sitting at the TV, but let's get started. So Group A, we've got, which is all playing today, we've got Mexico, we've got Korea, we've got Czechia, and then we got South Africa. I think Mexico's got a really strong team this year. They got a lot of young talent. I think they've been growing as a squad, and I think they take number 1. I think the real decider here is picking between Korea and Czechia to take number 2, and I'm going to put my money on Korea. I think Korea is going to come out number 2 in the group. I think Mexico is going to be a clear number 1. But I think Korea is going to inch out the number 2 spot, and I think it's going to go Czechia and South Africa. I think South Africa's got a shot, and they could surprise me here, but I think the Korea Republic and Czechia have stronger rosters, and they're gonna dominate. So Group B, we have Switzerland, we have Canada, we have Qatar, and we've got Bosnia Herzegovina. So for Group B, we've got Switzerland, we've got Canada, we've got Qatar, and we've got Bosnia Herzegovina. And little personal bias here. I was rooting for Italy to make the World Cup, and they lost out to Bosnia Herzegovina. So no bad blood with Bosnia, but just really breaks my heart to not see Italy qualify for the World Cup for 3 consecutive World Cups, which is unfathomable. But anyway, back to Group B. I think Switzerland has got the edge here. I think Switzerland's going to take number 1 in Group B, and I believe Canada is number 2. I think Canada beats out Qatar and Bosnia Herzegovina. And honestly, the way Bosnia played, I'm going to give them the number 3 spot. I think they beat out Qatar. You know, Qatar can upset me and maybe qualify better, but I think I'm biased here, and I think Bosnia is going to take the number 3 spot and potentially qualify for the knockout stage. Now we go to Group C, where we've got Brazil, we've got Morocco, we've got Haiti, and we've got Scotland. And I think Brazil is a clear favorite, but honestly, I'm gonna go with Morocco. I think Morocco is going to take number 1. They have a deep run in the previous 2022 World Cup in Qatar. They've got a really good squad with a lot of talent, and I think Brazil still has to kind of find their legs here. There's no doubt that Brazil has the talent. I won't deny that whatsoever. But I think for them, the key is going to be finding their team play and working together and executing on that. So I'm going to take a gamble and put Morocco number 1 and Brazil number 2. And I think Scotland's going to beat out Haiti for the number 3 spot. I'm not sure if Scotland's going to make it on to the knockout round, but I do think Scotland's going to finish above Haiti in the group. Group D, which is my hometown team, the United States. We have Turkey, we have Australia, and then we have Paraguay. And Although I'd like to think USA takes number 1 in the group, I actually think Turkey is going to take this. I've heard a lot of good things about Turkey. I haven't necessarily witnessed them firsthand, but I know they have a strong group, and I think they're going to give the United States a run for the money and take the number 1 seed in Group D. My bias is going to take over a little bit. I'm going to believe the United States is going to take the number 2 spot and move on to the knockout stage. But again, you know, it's the World Cup. Anything can happen here. But I'm putting my bet on USA to take the number 2 spot. And I believe it's a toss-out. I think Paraguay's got a good team. And I also think Australia has another strong team as well. They were able to make it to the knockout stage of the 2022 World Cup and actually lost out to Argentina. So it's a tough choice. But I'm going to go Paraguay. I think Paraguay is going to take number 3. I think they've got a really good really good squad, a lot of talent there. And they're going to take the number 3 spot in Group D. Now we move on to Group E. We've got Germany, we've got Ecuador, we've got Curacao, and we've got Côte d'Ivoire, which is the Ivory Coast. And I think Germany is a clear favorite here. I also think Ecuador has a tremendous talent. They have excellent goalkeeping. They have some really good defenders, Piero Hincapié and Pancho, who plays for PSG, as well as Moises Caicedo, who plays like Chelsea. And I think they're going to be a really good squad, and they're going to take that number 2 spot. I'm kind of split between the Ivory Coast and Curacao, but I think the Ivory Coast has got the edge over Curacao. I believe Curacao is making their first appearance in the World Cup here, so good luck to them. But I think the Ivory Coast has got deeper talent. So then we're going to go to Group F. We've got Netherlands, we've got Japan, we've got Sweden, and we got Tunisia. I apologize for mispronouncing that. Please don't beat me in the comments. I think Netherlands, Japan, and Sweden are certainly front runners of this group. But from what some of the research I've done and what I've been reading, I have a feeling Japan is going to take Group F. I think they've got not only a good squad of talent, but they've got a good team mindset and team tactics, and they're going to play well in the group stage and move on to the knockout round. For me, it's almost heads or tails between Sweden and the Netherlands. Sweden's finally qualifying for the World Cup. I believe they did not qualify for the previous one, but I think Netherlands just have such a plethora of talent. You've got Gakpo, you've got Dumfries, you've got Memphis Depay, you got Virgil van Dijk as center back. I think Netherlands are certainly going to take that, but I think Japan's going to edge out at the number 1 spot. That being said, I think Sweden takes number 3 and Tunisia takes number 4. But this will be an interesting group for sure, because I'm interested to see who actually takes that number 1 spot. Maybe it's not Japan, but I think Japan is the favorite. Now we're going to go to Group G, where we've got Belgium, we've got Iran, we've got Egypt, and we've got New Zealand. And right now, Belgium qualified for the last World Cup, but they did not have a good showing. I think they really struggled, but I think they've got a nice influx of talent, as well as I think they've worked out some of the team issues there. So I'm going to put Belgium at number 1. I think Iran's got a good shot, but I think I'm going to lean on Egypt here, being the runners-up in the last Afghan Cup, and also just having a grade A talent in Mo Salah. You know he's going to help lead that team and give them some success on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm going to go with Egypt number 2. I'm going to go with Iran and New Zealand in 4th for Group G. Group H, and of course we have one of the favorites to win the World Cup this year, which is Spain. We've got Uruguay, we've got Saudi Arabia, and we've also got Cabo Verde. Now, right now I look at it and I think Spain is the clear number 1 of the group. They've got just such a plethora of talent and such a pedigree of football that it's hard not to put them number 1 here. I think number 2 is certainly between Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, and I'm gonna go with Uruguay. I think Uruguay has an opportunity here to take the number 2 spot. They, again, another team with some good talent on them, and we're gonna have to see if the team around them plays up to it. But I think they have a chance here to come out number 2 in the group. But I do think it's going to be close with Saudi Arabia. I think either one of these could change. And potentially Saudi Arabia could take the number 2 spot, but I don't think anybody dethrones Spain at number 1. Now we're on the last section of groups here. We've got Group I with France, Senegal, Norway, and Iraq. France are clearly the favorites for number 1. I mean, runner-up to the previous World Cup, a team that's got Mbappe, they've got Doué, they got Dembele, they got Koundé, they've got Zaire Emery, just a team that's full of talent. And if I'm missing anybody, I'm certainly not picking them on, but these are just names that pop off at the top of my head here. Saliba, one of my guys on Arsenal, France is clearly going to take number 1. I think the key for them is going to make sure they're playing cohesively as a team. I know there's been some stories about the attacking side of the ball. Not that they struggle up there, but how the egos are going to mesh together here, and they're going to focus on winning as a team and not focusing on personal glory. And I think number 2 is between Senegal and Norway. And I've heard a lot of good things about Norway. Obviously, they've got good talent. Erling Haaland is a striker unlike anybody, with his physical presence, his scoring ability, his strength on the ball, and again, another one of my favorite players, Martin Odegaard, who's going to help control that center mid, the center of the field. So I'm going to give Norway the nod at number 2 here. I am a little worried though, because I watched some of their friendlies and the team looked out of sorts. It just didn't look like they were maintaining possession of the ball. They weren't working overly well together. So I do have some slight concerns here, but I'm going to lean on the fact that they resolve these issues going in the World Cup and they figure it out and able to come out number 2 in their group. I think Senegal is going to come number 3 and Iraq's going to fall to the 4th spot. Again, I think Senegal is another very talented team. Sadio Mane comes to mind, Koulibaly on the center back. So they certainly have a chance to jump Norway, and we'll see what ends up taking place. But I'm gonna give Norway the nod here, number 2. Then we get to Group J. We've got Argentina, we've got Austria, we've got Algeria, and we got Jordan. And I think again, beat silly. We're getting to some of the heavy hitters here. I'd be silly not to put Argentina number 1. Previous World Cup winners. You've got Lionel Messi. You've got Julian Alvarez, Enzo Fernandez. You've got Emi Martinez. A team full of talent, ready to make a consecutive run out of World Cup. I won't say I'm very familiar with Algeria and Jordan, so my bet is going to be Austria takes number 2, and I think it's going to be Algeria Jordan. And at this point, I'm guessing a little bit. I don't have all the information on Algeria Jordan, so we'll see how they perform in the group stage, and best of luck to them. I'm certainly not singularly rooting against any team per se. Just some of the teams I am more familiar with than others. Group K, which is another interesting one. We've got Portugal, we've got Colombia, we've got Congo, DR, and then we've got Uzbekistan. And I think Portugal, Colombia are clear 1 and 2 here. Portugal, again, another team with tremendous depth at talent. Bruno Fernandes coming off a great season in the Premier League. Obviously, Ronaldo is a name that everybody knows and recognizes, and I think he's still got that scoring touch at the age that he's at. You got Rafael Leao, you got Paulina, you've got Ruben Diaz, Diego Costa in goal. I think these guys have a serious chance to make a deep run in the World Cup and maybe even win it. So we'll see if they can do it. They see if they pull it off. They certainly have the talent to do so. Again, Colombia, I think, is another team that has a lot of good talent, has played well. I remember them last playing Argentina in the Gold Cup finals in Miami, for those that remember, where Miami struggled to keep fans out of the building because that's how crazy it was, and that's how many fans were there, not only to watch Messi, but support Colombia. But again, I think another team with a lot of good talent here is going to come in number 2. Again, not overly familiar with the Congo or Uzbekistan, and I think I'm gonna put Uzbekistan over the Congo. If they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. I certainly hope they do, but I'm gonna guess Uzbekistan takes 3 and Congo takes number 4. And last but not least, we have Group L, which is and then this is an extended format of the World Cup, so I think we've had more groups than we had in the past, and we're also going to push through third place teams, so that'll be really exciting. Just more soccer, more action, more matches for everybody to enjoy. In Group L, we've got England, we've got Croatia, we've got Panama, and then we've got Ghana. And right now, England takes number 1. England's got a squad full of talent, really depth. Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke, Mark Gahey, just a team full of talent. So I think they certainly take number 1 here, and really it's to see how far they can get in the World Cup this year. I think Thomas Tuchel, who's managing the squad, has a good idea how he wants them to play, and gonna focusing on that team environment, that team atmosphere, and they have a serious chance to make a deep run in this World Cup and maybe even win it. So we'll see what happens. I think the number 2 spot goes between Croatia and Panama, and I think Croatia, another team that's just got a lot of talent, a lot of pedigree. One of the names that comes to mind is Luka Modric, and I think he's able to get his team number 2 and out of the group stage. And I believe number 3, and I think it's going to go Panama, Ghana. I think Panama, again, another great team. They got a lot of talent. I think they're going to take number 3 though, and I don't know if Ghana is able to compete with the rest of the group. So now we get to choose some of the third place teams that I think move on, and I get to choose 8 of them. Off the top of my head, I think Senegal is a team that definitely does it. They're in a strong group, so I put them number 3, but even then they could take number 2. I think Sweden, again, in another group where there's 3 potential front runners. I also think Saudi Arabia. So there's 3, and then I got 5 more. I think Panama is another team that can play well, so we'll see if they move on. I think Czechia is another good team that can move on as well. And I've got 3 left here between Iran, Algeria, Ivory Coast, Paraguay, Scotland, Uzbekistan, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. I'm just trying to decide here. I'm going to pick the Ivory Coast. I think they've got some good talent. I think they've got a chance here. I think Iran, again, another talented squad. So I'm going to give them the nod here. And you know what? I'm going to go Bosnia. Maybe they got a chance to move on. They're certainly a Cinderella story in this World Cup. So I'm going to give them the nod here to move on. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Senegal, Iran, Ivory Coast, Panama, Sweden, Czechia, Saudi Arabia, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And I think Uzbekistan, Paraguay, Algeria, and Scotland are going to miss out. But hey, we'll see if I'm wrong. I'm certainly not a future teller. I'm just somebody making my predictions and giving my opinion here. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I hope I see you for the next video.